On December 5, 1945, 5 Navy torpedo bombers took off from the Florida coast on a routine training mission. Several hours later, radio contact with the squadron faded into static. All 14 men and their aircraft vanished without a trace. The Navy immediately scrambled a massive Martin PBM Mariner flying boat to comb the area. Less than an hour after takeoff, that rescue plane and its 13 crew members also disappeared. Despite a search covering hundreds of thousands of square miles of ocean, investigators found no oil slicks, no life jackets, and no floating debris. This absolute silence birthed the Bermuda Triangle legend. Popular culture filled that silence with stories of time-warping storms and extraterrestrial portals. However, analyzing the forensic realities of the flight reveals a darker story bound to the extreme physical forces of our own planet. Paranormal theorists frequently blame the disappearance on an interdimensional electronic fog that supposedly swallowed the squadron and disabled their equipment. The surviving radio transcripts point to a grounded cause. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, was navigating through worsening weather with failing compasses and began suffering from severe spatial disorientation. This map illustrates a catastrophic geographic mistake. Taylor radioed that he was flying over the Florida Keys, convinced the wind had pushed him far off course to the south. In reality, he was hundreds of miles away, flying directly over the Bahamas. Because he mistook the Bahamian Islands for the Keys, Taylor ordered his squadron to turn what he thought was north and east to reach the Florida coast. This heading drove the 5 bombers further out into the open Atlantic Ocean. When a pilot loses sight of the horizon in heavy weather and stops trusting their instruments, the human inner ear fails to detect gradual shifts in momentum. A pilot can easily slip into an accelerating spiral dive while feeling perfectly level. This collision of standard Atlantic storms and a catastrophic failure of human judgment generated the very conditions that were later misidentified as a supernatural vortex. The myth of Flight 19 suggests the men never crashed, bypassing the ocean entirely by slipping through a tear in spacetime. But Avengers have a strict fuel limit. By 8 p.m., their tanks ran dry. Taylor ordered the 5 planes to ditch into the ocean together in pitch darkness. They were attempting to land in waters notorious for rogue waves. The colliding weather systems and rapid currents off the Florida coast frequently generate massive, entirely unpredictable, and highly destructive ocean swells. Hitting a 20-foot wall of churning water and landing speed exerts a massive kinetic force on an aircraft. A heavy torpedo bomber would be instantly torn apart by the impact. The idea of stepping through a cosmic portal offers a peaceful escape. The physical reality of hitting an invisible, sheer wall of water in the dead of night is immediate and violent. Paranormal theorists often argue that the complete absence of wreckage proves the planes left our physical dimension. Looking at the rescue plane first, the Martin Mariner was notoriously prone to in-flight fuel vapor ignitions. Eyewitnesses on a nearby ship reported seeing a mid-air explosion at the exact time and place the search plane went missing. As for the 5 bombers, their crash site sat directly inside the Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current flowing continuously up the American coast. This brings in a fluid dynamics concept called turbulent dispersion. The ocean surface here is packed with swirling eddies that aggressively pull apart any floating material. Within mere hours, small pieces of buoyant debris would be scattered across 10,000 square miles of ocean, while the heavy engines and main fuselages would sink straight to the abyssal plain. Dropping metal into the world's fastest ocean current makes a total loss of wreckage a mathematical certainty. The tragedy of Flight 19 was driven by 3 intersecting factors: a pilot's spatial disorientation, the crushing weight of rogue waves, and the sweeping speed of the Gulf Stream. Theories about alien abductions and time travel are comforting. They give the tragedy a sense of order, a purpose driven by some higher intelligence, rather than the terrifying random violence of nature. We construct these elaborate myths because it is deeply unsettling to accept how quickly and quietly the ocean can consume human life. This stretch of ocean enforces the laws of physics with absolute, unforgiving brutality.